Excuse me, sir. Sir?
You two gentlemen smell like I'm gonna do my very best not to base our relationship on this first impression, but first impressions count for a lot. So if I meet a couple of men who not only neglect the common decency to introduce themselves, but simply walk up to me smelling as well, it's gonna take an effort for me to get to know them.
I'm sorry, sir. We just came from the swamp. I'm Agent G, AMS.
You're Warden Darling, right?
That's entirely accurate, Detective Washington. You see, I'm not the only individual whose reputation precedes them.
House of Dead Overkill is certainly a game with a reputation that precedes itself. On the Wii, it actually got into the Guinness Book of World Records for being the most profane title in existence. It's an adult presentation with a grindhouse feel and look. It's one of the funniest games of 2009, and it's been retooled, remastered, extended for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Move. Thank you for tuning in. This is DJ Fobfresh from SegaShiro.com, your Sega resource, and this is a video review of House of the Dead Overkill Extended Cut. The PS3 edition of the game packs quite a punch over the Wii version. Now, I was a fan of the original title, but this one just brings in more levels, HD graphics, 3D support, online leaderboards, and a whole host of collectibles and trophies. The stuttering frame rate of the Wii version is completely gone. However, the graphics are very good, at least in terms of art style. However, you can see the roots were definitely rooted in last generation hardware as opposed to being built on the ground up for the PS3. However, the trip to HD graphics is very welcomed. You'll find it easier to spot collectibles through the levels, and the game does look significantly better. The 3D support is also welcomed as bosses and characters will reach out of the screen at you. It's got some nice pop-out effects. However, in an odd choice, when you play in 3D, the graphical filter to give the grindhouse film aesthetic remains on screen. The effect is somewhat odd. It almost feels like you're wearing filtered glasses as opposed to just being immersed into the world. It would have been nice if Sega let you turn the filter off when playing in 3D mode. However, that said, the graphics succeed in bringing this gory, grotesque, but hilarious world to life. House of the Dead Overkill is one of gaming's greatest guilty pleasures, especially if you're an adult gamer. The interplay between Special Agent G and Detective Washington is just outright hilarious. The two new characters in Varlet Guns and Candy Stripper don't fare quite as well as the other two. However, Headstrong Games nailed the grindhouse feel. If you enjoyed movies like Planet Terror or Hobo with a Shotgun, then you'll enjoy the juvenile toilet humor that's presented in this game. Despite the game being a rail shooter, it offers a lot of reasons to keep coming back. First of all, for gamers that played the Wii version, the 2 extra levels fatten out the game experience, giving it a little more substance. There's also tons of unlockables and little items strewn throughout the levels that you can pick off to unlock different aspects of the game. There's even a second cut, a director's cut mode, that offers new areas when you beat the game over once. You also unlock, after you beat it once, shoot the shit mode, which allows you to actually shoot down the curse words during cutscenes, and it's just a great extra little feature. I love the dialogue in the game so much that that was one of my favorite new additions. There's also a dual wield mode and lots of weapons that you can unlock over the course of the game. One new addition is the crossbow. As you can see in the screens above, these are just some examples of the collectibles. You can collect the posters of the different scenarios in the game, comic book pages, so you can actually collect the full comic book, which was a pre-release for the Wii version. You can unlock different character models. And probably the coolest feature to unlock is that you can unlock all of the music tracks in the game, from the lyrical versions to the instrumental. And it's probably one of the most underrated features of House of the Dead Overkill. The soundtrack is simply stunning. Go onto YouTube, check out the different music tracks. They are funky, they are fun, and they're good songs. Outside of Director's Cut mode and Story mode, there is 3 mini-games that you can play with groups, and they're a lot of fun. They're not as good as the main campaign. That's probably where the meat of the game is, but they are enjoyable. The game also features some truly grotesque monsters. Some of the bosses are just memorable. They aren't the hardest to beat, but they're certainly memorable. In terms of controls, there's some definite improvements in this title over the Wii version, especially if you're using the PlayStation Sharpshooter. The game does support just the PlayStation Move and the controller, but if you actually have the Sharpshooter, that is definitely the way to play it. In the Wii title, reloading was mapped to waggling the gun, which would cause your on-screen cursor to actually flail about on the screen, and you would lose your aim. However, with the PlayStation Move and the Sharpshooter, you can actually cock reload like a shotgun, and it creates a much better experience, a much more immersive experience. My only real issue with this version of House of the Dead is that it has a few intrusive load times. They just seem a little out of place and a little long. Now, this doesn't happen in-game, just mostly between stages or when you're entering a stage. It just seems a little odd, but the game doesn't install any data to your PS3, so I guess that's the trade-off. House of the Dead Overkill is a definitive version of a cult classic. If you haven't played it on the Wii, it is definitely worth experiencing. House of the Dead Overkill is a rail shooter built for consoles. It's a shining example of the genre on the system. Your mother won't like it, and children should definitely not play it, but at the $30 to $40 price point, you can't go wrong. Now I'll let Agent G close off the show.
You do. Use your tongue better than a $30 hooker. And man, can I say from the bottom of my heart, you are a shining example to all of us, mankind.